Hi friends, welcome to practice. Earlier today we did a 75-minute practice focused on side plank. My tech failed me, it didn't record, so this is the second take. It won't take us through a full 75-minute practice, which might be advantageous for a few of you. If you took the class and you want to just redirect to the very specific side plank exercises. And for those that don't always have that full 75 minutes, this will be a great shorter practice for you to be able to access. Take a comfortable seat. Sit up nice and tall through the spine. Take a moment to close your eyes. Turn to the breath. Today I'm taking advantage of the beautiful weather that we're having in Washington, D.C. You'll probably pick up on the mic, the birds chirping in the background. Perhaps you yourself have the opportunity to practice outside right now. Or you can picture yourself in the beauty of the coming spring. I've talked some this week about transitions. It feels now as though we're moving a transition slightly out of this pandemic, and we have to stay sure-footed even in the transition out. We'll pick up on that through practice today. It's not only how we get into a posture, how we are while in the posture, but also how are we taking care of ourselves as we move out of the posture. Couple more full breaths here, just setting yourself for this time for practice. And when you're ready, open the eyes and come on over to all fours. Place the hands flat down on your mat. Spread all 10 fingers nice and wide. And for a moment, I just want you to shift your weight a little bit forward and back. Also a little bit side to side. Notice how that changes. The pressure in your hands, the pressure more specifically underneath the finger pads, the top of the palm, the bottom of your palm. Take it all in. That's your foundation point. Inside plank. So we want to pay good attention. Okay, cat and cow. Just start to move your spine back and forth, up and down here. And change from cat and cow into downward facing dog. So hands a little further out in front. And you can play with this. Some practitioners like middle finger straight ahead, and that works best. I like to think of the space in between my first and second finger, peace fingers I say, and I point that space straight ahead, which ends up looking like I've just slightly, just barely turned my hands out. And that's where I've found over the years my down dog feels best. So tuck the toes, lift the hips. And I say that's where my hands and down dog feel best. Anytime I have my hand flat down on the mat, that's usually my starting point. The purpose of the practice, though, is to try it out. What works for you? Grip underneath the finger pads as you pedal the feet. Feel a little more weight on the thumb and first finger. At the same time, we'll just kind of work out through the whole body. Knees down, child's pose. Press the hips back to the heels. Walk both hands over to the right side so you get a really good stretch from the left hand back towards the left hip. And then walk the hands across the center and do that to your second side. Reach from the right hand, but pull back on the right hip. Today we'll go through many different ways to come in and to come out of side plank. It's It's a pose that you're pretty familiar with if you practice with me. I just want to break it all down, give us some different options. Okay, back to all fours. And then twisted child's pose. Place the right arm under, side of the face, ear, shoulder down to the mat, and reach your left hand out in front of you. Lift the left arm up to the sky, and here's the nuance here. The head of the left shoulder, it likes to roll down towards your mat. As you lift your left hand up, try to lift the head of the shoulder up as well. Okay, and then we place the left hand back beside our face. Help yourself up. And go to your second side. Take your left hand, thread it underneath. Again, shoulder, ear, side of the face, flat down against your mat. Reach your right arm long out in front of you. Then take the right hand up to the sky. Again, think of the head of the shoulder. It'll want to curl down and forward here. Feel a little more strength in the abdomen to keep the head of the shoulder and the arm lifting up, up, up. Okay, unthread yourself and come on back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees a little bit and walk your hands backwards to your feet. For a moment, relax. Ragdoll pose, hold on to your elbows, just kind of sway a little bit back and forth. And slowly come on up to standing. Okay, before we get back down onto our hands and all fours, let's spend a little bit more time on our hands and wrist. Make a fist and just curl around. Go one direction several times and then go the opposite way. Here's the thing, in yoga, we spend a lot of time on our hands and knees. And for some folks, that's really troublesome in the wrist, in the elbow, in the shoulder. And there's a little bit of a back and forth on this, in that to build the strength, to build the stability for the hands and knees exercises, we've got to spend more time on the hands and knees. So we're going to do that hopefully in a very smart way today. Okay. Flex the hands out in front of you like they're stop signs. And then take your left hand, fingertips, right to the base of the wrist and pull back. Okay, at the same time, with that shoulder, push forward, extend out, and then pull back. And we want to feel as though the tips of the shoulder blades are moving in towards each other as you pull back. Okay, drop the left hand and reach your right arm, keeping the shoulder engaged on the back, straight up to the sky, palms face in. Right hand lifted up, up, up. It's not as high as it can go because I'm concentrating on shoulder girdles staying very held in. Okay, and then let's do this. Take the shoulder out and lift up as high as you can. Notice those two differences. More stretch through the long side of the body here. And then we'll release the hand. Go back to your stop signs. And we got to do the second side. So right fingertips to the left hand. Again, you're going to push a little bit forward so that you have the contrast to pull back. Neither one of these shoulder positions is the right way or the wrong way. We're just showing the full range of motion. That's what we're going for. Okay, if you drop the hand, keeping the shoulder back, if you will, lift the arm up to the sky. Turn to the side so you guys can see this maybe even a little bit more. Okay, ready? Now the hand goes as high as it possibly can. And the hand is lifting higher because I've let the shoulder lift more up towards my ear. And that reach really comes from the hip. The whole side body, reach, reach, reach. And then release down and shake it out. Okay. Come stand at the top of your yoga mat. Arms straight ahead. Squeeze the tips of the shoulder blades in. Keep that, and then arms overhead. So now both arms are doing this. Can you keep doing that and place your right foot onto your left leg for tree pose? It might not be the highest tree pose possible. It might not feel as stable because you don't have the same helping hand. Do your best, hold on to it. Just one more breath. And then release the leg. Take the arms down, give it a little bit of a shake. Okay, and then we'll approach it for the second side. Again, shoulder blades in, onto the back, sometimes we'll refer to it. And then arms up like the number 11. And then the second foot. Tree pose. Push the foot into the leg into the foot. Hold it. Breathe. So much to do. Lower the leg and lower the arms. A little bit of a shake. While we're here at the top of the mat, let's get in a couple rounds of sun salutation. Inhale, lift high. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift. Extend from the hips out to the crown of the head. Step back to plank. Ooh, stay right here in plank pose. Pull the heels in, squeeze the glutes, lengthen your tailbone, tone the belly, look a little forward. Try this. Rock forward onto the toes, push back into the heels. Do it twice more forward. So the shoulders actually move a little beyond the line of the wrist here, deep flexion, and then back. And now knees, chest, and chin for this round. Cobra, press down through the hands and feet, lift the chest. Change, downward facing dog. Breathe. If you look forward at your hands, can you notice what a different angle your shoulders are right now from the back of the wrist versus when we are forward in plank pose? A lot of what we do inside plank pose comes from this downward dog angle of wrist to shoulder instead of thinking of it like full plank angle where shoulders are over the wrist. So again, think more about being drawn up and back. Just that in and of itself, I think a huge lesson to remember. Okay, let's step all the way forward to the front of the mat. Half lift, forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Palms together, center the chest. Let's do it one more time for good measure. Inhale, lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, half lift. Step back to plank. Do the little rock forward and back, forward and back. As you rock forward, keep gripping the earth, thumb and first finger, and back. And this time, full chaturanga, hover right above the mat and slide it right into cobra. Thighs down, chest up. Change to downward facing dog. All right, look to the hands. Step or jump to the front of the mat. Lift up halfway. Forward fold. Stand all the way up, arms to the sky. Palms together, center of the chest. Okay, this next series gets us into our first option for side plank. From the top of the mat, keep your right foot forward and step your left foot back into a high lunge. Couple of steadying breaths. I need it myself. Squeeze the hips tight in, tone in the belly, and then reach the arms up to the sky. Hinge forward at the hips. Place the belly and the chest as much flat down onto your right thigh as possible. Drop the left hand, flat palm, all the way down to the mat. Exchange the weight back into your legs if it was placed in the hand. Lift the arm back up and come upright in the torso. Hands to the hips. Step all the way forward. Left foot stays forward. Step your right foot back. Again, get strong tone in the legs first. This first round of side plank is all about keeping most of the focus in our legs. Okay, arms up to the sky. And then the hinge. And I'm going to add on to this side, and then we'll come back to it on the second side. So as you place the right hand down, get the palm as flat as you can. But still, most of my weight is really centered in the legs. Okay, adding on here, that front foot, start to heel toe, left foot more out to the side. As you do that, turn to the outer edge of the back foot. So I'm on the pinky toe edge of the right foot, a lot of weight there, but also full weight on the front left foot. Now the more that I can push down through the left foot, watch the bottom hand and shoulder. I can draw up and back. And if I notice that even as I draw up and back, I'm still pretty far forward, shoulder over the line of the wrist, squiggle, very technical, squiggle the back foot a little further back. And then I've got even more room to play. Top arm up to the sky if not already. Okay, this is the tricky part for me. How do I get back? Heel toe, heel toe. The left foot now is going to be drawn back from the right hand, but I can keep the weight enough in the legs. You should be able to pick up that right hand. That's a big piece of the puzzle. And then step the back foot forward. Stand all the way up. We've done our first side plank. Second side, I'm going to turn this way just so it makes sense to you facing the camera. So right foot would stay forward, left foot back, arms up. We do the hinge, all the things we've already done, and then set the left hand palm flat down. So yes, you need a flat left hand here, but again, most of the play, most of the work from the legs. So heel toe, the right foot off to the side, like I'm moving it off of my yoga mat until I can turn to the outer edge of the left foot, squiggle back a little bit to get the shoulder more off from the back of the wrist, turn and look up. Maybe even pulse the hips a couple of times here. Awesome IT band stretch on that outer right thigh. Okay, knowing that we've kept this all centered in the legs, we should be able to heel toe and walk it back. Yes, a little more shallow in that stance. And step forward, hands to the waist, elbows up to the sky, push down into the feet, come on up. Cool? It's actually my favorite look at side plank. I wanted to put it right into the puzzle. Now, as we go through class, we'll have a few different options, and then at the end, you get to choose those entry points to add in even more challenge. Okay, back up at the front of the mat. Big lift. Exhale, fold. Step it back to plank. And lower your knees down. Let's come to all fours. Okay, turn the hands out 90 degrees, which means face your thumbs towards the front of the mat and the fingers to face out to the sides. Don't let the belly hang. Pull strength to a neutral spine and look just a little past the front edge of your yoga mat. Lift your right leg up, point out to the toes, and let's just pulse higher. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower down. So we're getting some strengthening in glutes and hamstrings while also this stretch in the hands. Okay, can you go 90 degrees more? So now facing the fingers back towards the knees. If you try that out and it's like, that's too much, maybe you stay here but don't add the leg, or you go back, hands out to the side, and still add the leg. Here we are, left leg up, back, look forward, and pulse it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set it down, very nice and careful. Turn the hands back around. It's that balance, right, of putting a little bit of tension on the wrist, using the hands and really good patterning, great alignment, so that we actually grow the strength, grow the power, stability of the joint. Downward facing dog. From here, lift the right leg up into the air, three-legged dog. Pull the knee into the chest and hover forward in plank with the right knee lifted. Like you're trying to do a little bit of a cat rounded back here. Lift, 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 lift. And then step it all the way through. Warrior 2, spin the back heel down, come all the way upright. Okay, from Warrior 2, let's bring the hands in so palms are facing towards each other, like right about at my shoulder height. And then I'm trying to match my shoulder to the right inner thigh and come back up. Shoulder to the right inner thigh and come back up. One more time, stay down. This time, can the right hand go flat down like we did a moment before in that side plank work? Right palm flat down. I've got it pulled back just a little bit from my heel. Top arm straight up to the sky. We're going to call this a version of side plank. We can also try dragging the front leg. Yes, your front leg. So I'm going to push, 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 a little bit of a cat pose to somehow get that right leg to be able to step back into side plank. Left foot flat on the ground. Keep it like that. Look down, round the back, and try to step the right foot back through. Come up elbow to knee, give it a pause, and then lift all the way back to Warrior 2. Both hands to the hips. Warrior 1, so heel toe the back foot in, like one step. Lift the heel, and then I'm going to rotate, rotate around and press the heel back down. Lift the arms up to the sky. 2 glorious full breaths right there. And lower the hands down. Step it back to plank. Lower Chaturanga Dandasana, that hover. All the way flat down. Keep the head of the shoulder lifted as you come into Cobra. Elbows squeeze to your side. And then downward facing dog. Lift the hips up and back. Second side, lift the left leg high. I'll stay on this side so you get a little bit of a view from the back. Pull the knee into the chest and hover forward. Stay with the hover and step the foot all the way through. Warrior 2, spin the back heel down, line up about heel to heel or front heel to the middle of the back foot. Come all the way upright. Okay, again, I'm bringing my hands in, so thumbs right about shoulder height. Think tailbone down towards the floor, so you feel as though your belly is a little bit lifted up. And let's try going over and up, and you'll find your maximum range. If you can, shoulder to inner thigh and back up. Do it one more time and stay. Try extending your left hand so it's flat against the ground, right arm up to the sky. Okay, if the time before we were mostly keeping the weight in our legs, of course we've got to get the weight out of the front leg for it to swing back. And so I'm going to round the back a little bit, push the hips back. Come, as we might say, halfway out of the pose to get that foot free. Wrap it around the bottom ankle and then come back up. I think the hard part is, how do I get out? How do I transition out? Same thing, round again. Be patient with yourself coming out just as you are coming in. I'm just gonna kind of like step it around. I need a little more helping hand on this side. No big deal, find your way. Warrior 2. Shorter stance in Warrior 1. Pick up the back heel, rotate in the hips. As the arms go up, press the back heel down again. Again, those 2 lovely lifted breaths. And then lower the hands down. Step it back to plank. Lower down to the mat. Peel the chest up. And push back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees and walk the hands backwards, backwards, backwards to the feet. Slow roll up to standing this time. So those are 2 different ways of looking at coming into side plank. Here's a third option. We're going to go right into it. Come stand towards the front side of your mat. Just kind of casually standing. And lean down and take the right hand down against the ground. And like very much mentally, this is my foundation. This is my starting point. Spread all 10 fingers wide. If you like that middle finger straight ahead, point it straight ahead. If you like the crease between the first and second finger straight ahead, do that. So what is your down dog hand? It's right there for you. If you tend to have a little bit of a hyperextension in this elbow, it should feel as though you have a tiny bend in the elbow, so the crease of the elbow is facing out towards the long edge of the yoga mat. Okay, and then I'm going to keep that hand pretty weighty, but walk the feet back, back, back. Once I walk the feet back, come onto the knife edge of the right foot and try stacking the left foot to it. Left arm up to the sky. I'm all along one side of my yoga mat. Keep looking down so you hold that concentration in the foundation, that bottom hand. And walk, walk, walk back in. Come on up to standing. I have seen so much success in using this variation for students that feel as though I'm not strong enough to hold side plank in my abdomen, or I'm not strong enough or stable enough in the wrist and shoulder. It's just flipping our perspective a little bit and actually saying, yes, you are strong enough, and the feet do the stepping into the pose rather than the whole center core of the body having to do it. Okay, come on over to a second side. Place the left hand down. So if you've got this, if you've got a flat palm, 2 feet on the ground right now, can feel some strength in your gut, you can do this entry. Walk your feet back. And maybe it's walking yourself back, not all the way straight, not all the way to the outside edge. It's like, where is your stopping point? I heel toe out. If I can get the feet flat, stacked against each other with the hips still in a lifted position, awesome. Right hand to the sky. Give yourself a little turn and a smile. And then you walk it back in. Hand is the last thing to come back up. Okay? So those are 3 very different ways to enter and exit the pose. Come to the top of your mat. Palms together, center of the chest. Take it in. What felt right? What felt a little bit clunky that you might want to work on more? Or to ditch. So here, just a moment to give yourself that power to know the transitions in and out of the pose are fully there for you. Take what you want. Moving along. Open the eyes, reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Good old downward facing dog. Place the hands, step the feet back. And you might have just noticed, place the hands, step the feet back is much the same way as that last entry. So you actually do it a lot more than you might think. It's just with 2 hands down. Okay, can we take the feet as wide as our yoga mat, lift up to the tips of our toes, and then just sway the hips off to the right, heels up, sway the heels to the left and the hips to the left, and heels up. Do it back to the first side. You're in side plank as you do this, just with both hands down to the left and back to the center. Don't think about it, come into side plank. Your transition in, your transition out. Give it 2 or 3 breaths. Your biggest side plank right here. And then 2 hands down, go right into the second side. Don't stop. And 2 hands down, knees down, child's pose. Sit back, extend your legs out in front of you. In our full 75-minute class, we took a little more time at this point to get into the hamstrings, to stretch, and to do a few seated twists. We're going to take that a little quicker here, but know that you could always spend more time. You could even pause the class here and spend more time in a seated forward fold and in a few seated twists. For now, 2 feet out in front of you, just fold over. Come on back up. Take the right foot in and over. Hold the front of your shin or to the outside of the thigh and add a twist. Back to center, extend the right leg. Take left foot in and over, add a twist. Do you guys catch this wonderful rainbow chalk drawing? Luna did that this morning. So happy to have the sun. Okay, come back. Lie down onto your back. Soles of the feet to your yoga mat. Take the right knee and squeeze it into the chest. Extend the right leg straight up to the sky and lower the left leg down so you're getting a good solid hamstring stretch here. Now instead of the birds chirping, you might be hearing garbage truck collection. We get it all in our urban oasis, right? Okay, sole the left foot on the ground. Change this just slightly in full side plank pose, Vashisthasana. It's a hold of the lifted top leg. So here, let's mimic that. Bend your right knee, lift your head and shoulders off of the mat so you're in a little bit of a crunch. Take your first 2 fingers and your thumb and wrap it around your big toe. If I lie the head back, shoulders back, it's like I'm in half happy baby. You can extend the left leg. I like to even practice left arm overhead. And this is a good spot to stay and work with. Second work is to go to or towards straight right leg and take the leg out to the side. Can you imagine your left hand and left foot in side plank and that right leg flying high to the sky? Okay, we bring it back in, rebend completely, soles of both feet to the mat. Pull the left knee into our chest. At first, just a nice strong stretch here. Extend the right leg against the mat. Give it a couple of breaths. I always find poses much more doable when I break it down into the different component parts. I don't have to think about it all at once. So here we're going to bend the knee, lift the head and shoulders up, grab, peace fingers around that big toe. Go for your half happy baby. And so it's like in the component part of Ashistasana, if I'm trying to get the top leg straight while I'm balancing in that side plank, but I cannot get the top leg straight, even when I'm lying on my back, I should back off my expectation. Work on the stretch and length of the leg in this plane first. And then it's like, all right, can I match, I don't know, half of that plane when I get into the different balance? Okay, come on back up. So here's to that point. I want you to find your best entry. We just did about 4 different ways to come into side plank. So you can play with one of those 4 ways. Maybe you have a totally different way that you like side plank. So what is going to enhance your confidence and fullness in side plank? First, watch me for just a second. I'm going to go at it from down dog. I know my hips are lifted. I know my shoulder is back from the wrist, and get into the side plank. That feels pretty good to me. I know if I look down the whole time, I'm going to do better than if I were to try to look up. And then I'm like, okay, it was just lying down onto my back. It was half happy baby. Can I get to that position? Pull the knee in, round the back a little bit. Okay, good. How about point the knee up to the sky? Okay, I got my leg mostly straight. Can I do it again here? Go, go, go. And then you release. Transition out just as safely. So I've got to go all the way back, downward facing dog. And then second side. Don't take a big pause in between the sides. Let's all go first side, okay? Come into your side plank. We've practiced all the different entry points. You pick the one that works for you. And then you've got options. You stay, you work there a little bit longer. You decide, okay, I'm gonna go for that extended leg. How do you grab hold of the big toe first? Point the knee up. Then go for a straighter leg. Second side. Transition to your second side. Do most of what you did on the first side, but know this is all on its own. It's unique. Maybe the experience will be different. When you're done, child's pose. Wrap the hands back to your feet. Now let the shoulders round down and forward. Take as long as you would like there in your child's pose. And then as you're ready, we're lying down. Right ankle over the left knee, pull the left leg in, figure 4 position. Maybe release the hands out, circle the wrist. second side, cross the left ankle over, point the knee out, pull the leg in. A little helping hand with the hands, or keep doing a little bit of release in the hands and wrist. Set both feet down. Can you take your hands over your belly? Feel the power here. The good steady work that came from this practice. And then if there's any last bit of movement that you'd like, add it in. And finally, find your still position for Shavasana. Traditional Shavasana, lying down, arms, legs extended. But you could also find a different position. Always listening. What do you desire here? What is your best soft transition from the movement of practice here to the stillness and release of practice? And today I will leave you right here in Shavasana. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your practice. Namaste.